people want to win even when they have not won, and they don't care what happens to those countries. We have seen people being misplaced because of, egos, because of people fighting for power. The Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga is one person who have really proved that Kenya comes ahead of everything. Kenya comes ahead of him. And Honorable Speaker, I just want to implore upon this country that this is the high time that our president and the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga leads this country into unity. Honorable Speaker, I first got into politics through ODM. And at some stage, I was an ODM chairperson in Ethiopia. And Honorable Speaker, even the president today was once an ODM person. He was once an ODM member. What I want to say is, it is possible for Kenyans to work together, regardless of which region they come from, regardless of which communities they come from, regardless of their religious backgrounds. Finally, Madam Speaker, it is so sad that some of the utterances that were uttered about the heads of states of other countries and our candidates were uttered on the pulpit of the church. Madam Speaker, we need to pray for our churches. We need to pray for our men and women of the cloth. Because, in our church, in the Catholic, we say the church is a moving church. But I just pray that the church, everybody does not move and leave the church in the world.
You're getting an opportunity, unless you're an appointed order. Hold on. Yeah, I think the next person was the Honorable nominated member, Honorable Irene Mayaka. And then I think we're coming to you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. Honorable Speaker, I also want to take this opportunity to join my fellow colleagues in congratulating the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga for conducting himself as the true Pan-Africanist that he is, and actually offering himself up for the AU chairperson position. Honorable Speaker, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga is one of those people who are very resilient. When we were in Addis and we were all feeling very sad about this particular loss, he was talking to us while smiling and assuring us that it is not the end of the world. And so I really want to salute him for that. Honorable Speaker, I also want to take this opportunity to thank the President, His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, for leading the campaign on behalf of Kenya. Truly, what the President did was magnanimous of him. Him going across the whole country, the whole of Africa, him hosting us in State House to launch the campaign of the Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga is something that as young people we will never forget, and we want to thank him for that. Madam Speaker, and the Honorable CPA Kimani Kuri alluded to this, that so many of us have been beneficiaries of the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga offering us mentorship. Madam Speaker, if you notice, on my right hand, I always wear two wristbands. One that is the Kenyan wristband for my patriotism. The other one is a blue wristband that has the initials DOR, which means Daughters of Raila. And the reason why I do this is because I am one of the beneficiaries of a mentorship of a great statesman of this country. The Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga did not look at me as the daughter of so-and-so. He looked at me as a young girl who was really passionate about politics, who wanted to be in this space and mentored me to get to where I am. And so, Honorable Speaker, it really saddened and disgusted me when I saw so many other young people on social media trying to castigate the candidature of the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. And Honorable Speaker, I just want to say that we also have a fault because we do not educate our young people about the history of some of the great Kenyans that we have, because they need to understand that when you're out there, when you're competing as a Kenyan, we all forget our tribal cards, put them aside, and stand up for the Kenyan who is competing for something. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, even for the people in Nyeri who are celebrating this, I really want to just tell them that that was a show of patriotism, and we should not allow it as a country. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, even as we introspect and look at what else for Kenya in terms of Africa, even as we congratulate Djibouti for winning this particular context, I just want to say personally, I think that Africa lost an opportunity to be led by a great man, an opportunity to have a Pan-Africanist who would have taken this continent to the next level. I submit and I thank you.
Iti? Yeah, Honorable Kimilu. I know you dropped to the bottom because you made a point of order. Yes, and we're coming to each of you. I can see your faces. I can see you, Mboka. I can see you, Naomi Wako. I can see you, Ferdinand. I know you're next and like that. I think everyone will have an opportunity. You may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. And Madam Speaker, before I contribute to this important motion, I want to give my condolences to the family of Malulu and the constituency for the loss. And Madam Speaker was our colleague. And I want to say my apology to the constituency, Madam Speaker, and the family. Madam Speaker, I want to say for the loss of Baba, it's a loss of the country, Kenya. And I want to say that we all lost, Madam Speaker, as a country. And this wants to teach us a lesson going forward, Madam Speaker, because it's a big shame to the country, Kenya, for this big loss. But because, Madam Speaker, Baba was a strong candidate, we want to congratulate him because, in fact, coming number 2, it was not a joke because there was a stiff competition, Madam Speaker. And I think, Madam Speaker, going forward, we also need to see how we are going to operate with some of our friends. Because, Madam Speaker, although, Mr. Speaker, although you cannot know who voted where, Madam Speaker, but body language and the reaction can also speak louder than the voting, Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker. So I think some of the guys, they pretend they are our friends. I think they are not our friends, Mr. Speaker. Like this guy, I don't think whether Museveni is a friend of this country, Mr. Speaker. And these are the people we need, Mr. Speaker, to be serious, because we need to know who are our true friends and who are just lying us, who are just telling us we work together, we are friends, but they are not friends to this country, Mr. Speaker. I think it's very important, Mr. Speaker, and this is a time as a country, we need to be united, we need to look forward, and also we need to forget of what has happened, Mr. Speaker, and move forward as a country. We need to come back. I want to request Baba to come back to the country. We unite and see how we can move our country together, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I don't agree with some of segment made by the Kenyans, Mr. Speaker, but it's their right to make such segments. But Mr. Speaker, I think this is a time we need to give Baba moral support and also stand with him, because it's not easy. It's not easy. I'm a politician and I know what it means. But, Mr. Speaker, we need to support him. We need to give him moral support. And I want to say, as a country, let's not have...
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I take this opportunity to support the motion. One, I begin by congratulating and giving echo to the President, William Samoei Ruto, and on behalf of myself, the people of Emuhaya, the UDA party, indicate that I support and congratulate the President because he undertook to make sure that RAILA is supported for this position. Ordinarily, it would be not easy for a person whom you had been competing with. I saw a spirit of brotherliness, a spirit of Kenyahood that he exuded. I also want to thank him for taking us to that space where you would imagine for a new Kenyan born that this is the first time that we were having the AUC elections happening, because it's a space which ordinarily Kenyans had not been exposed to. And the publicity, the campaigns, and the aura that it was given set the stage. Number two, let me congratulate and echo RAILA Amolo Odinga. RAILA Amolo Odinga has risen now to beyond just a leader of a section or a small area in this country. RAILA is a statesman. He now joins the Pan-Africanists, the likes of W.E. Du Bois and the others like Marcus Garvey, maybe Kwame Nkrumah and others. Because what he does, he shows very clearly that he is above the normal, ordinary, small politics of Kenya. But he rises beyond that level to support Kenya as a country and where need is required. Look at just the last, because one member of parliament had created the milestones that he has done. But I want to echo the one that is most recent, when we just had the recent situation whereby everybody would think that RAILA should use the opportunity available to make everything very unstable in the country, and that was just after the Gen Z riots. He steps down and calms the waters. That's a statesman. And therefore, as he comes back, I believe these are two leaders who went through a very rigorous session of praying together in Addis, surmounting certain challenges together, and even discussing what to deal with. So if anybody, rather for all the Kenyans, this is not the end, it's just the beginning for the big things to happen. And I want to encourage the two leaders to work together as two statesmen to bring unity, unify the country, and make us develop. And we have seen common challenges and problems outside there. This should make us even work together and be stronger than it was, and not to divide us. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The MP for Mwingi West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to add my voice to this motion, and I want to support it, Mr. Speaker. First of all, I just want to congratulate His Excellency, the President, on this. To congratulate His Excellency, the President, for championing this candidature of RAILA Amolo Odinga. Mr. Speaker, this was not actually a tribal or any political affiliation kind of a matter. It was a national thing that should have been supported by each and every Kenyan, regardless of tribal affiliation, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, a win for RAILA Amolo Odinga would have been a win for Kenya. And if he lost as a Kenyan, not a Luo, not an ODM person, or not even an Azimio leader, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I would like to say that we are very proud of him. He just registered the name of our country in what we call international arena in Africa, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, going to what happened, this is the first time I'm seeing an election, someone winning round 1 and 2 and still losing. We need to change the format of the way we are determining the win of AUC chairman, Mr. Speaker. And I would suggest in the future, we import the leave from European Union, where the chairmanship comes from in a rotational basis. We have to rotate. Otherwise, African Union has become a thing for the North. Every time they collude, the last minute they vote for the candidate they want, and always coming from the northern part of Africa, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to challenge the new incoming chair to address the issues of loss of biodiversity in Africa, the issues of climate change, to work together to address the perennial issues facing the African continent, and in particular the economic pressures and the conflicts we are witnessing in different parts of the country. And since, Mr. Speaker, I can see my time is up, I would like to say, let us unite as a country and let us work in unison for the prosperity of our nation and forget what had happened in Addis Ababa.
The Honorable James Anyikal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, may I appreciate and thank the government of Kenya for endorsing and supporting Honorable Raila's quest for the chairmanship of AU Commission. Mr. Speaker, may I also congratulate and thank Honorable Raila for the courage, the commitment, and the selflessness to pursue this. This was not actually for his own benefit, not even just for the benefit of Kenya, but for the whole of Africa. Mr. Speaker, the local political discussions that we are seeing after this election completely misses the point. The bigger objective in this was actually the future of Africa. We know, and we all agree, that Africa is the richest continent in terms of resources and potential, and yet it is the poorest continent in terms of utilization of these resources. Therefore, in this election, in my view, even as we congratulate the winner, it is only the Honorable Raila who had the political clout actually to get the African heads of state for once, hopefully, if you leave the 1957 era when we were all clamoring for a united Africa, to get them to speak together with one voice and put the Africa agenda for international discourse. And this is particularly, Mr. Speaker, necessary if we look at the leadership in the America today. African leaders need to talk together with one language. This is what is going to protect us. And in my view, this is what I know, and everybody perhaps knew Raila Amolo Odinga was capable of doing. Mr. Speaker, look at Africa, the youthful population. But what happens to this population? We are actually afraid of the youth. Many are dying crossing the Mediterranean Sea because they say they would rather go and live abroad than live in. They would rather die while trying to go abroad than live in Africa. Who can put this thing together? Mr. Speaker, we have the largest potential in minerals. We have the largest potential in hydropower. We have the largest potential even in gas. But despite all that, we are still poor. And in fact, the countries with the highest potential are the countries with the biggest turmoil in politics.
The Honorable David Gikaria.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipatia nafasi hii. Na ya kwanza nichukue nafasi hii kumpongeza Mheshimiwa Raila Amolo Odinga kwa kujitokeza kwenda kuwania kiti cha kuongoza Afrika nzima. Pili, nichukue nafasi hii Mheshimiwa Spika kumshukuru sana Rais wetu William Samoei Ruto kwa kujitolea kabisa, akawa yeye ndio alikuwa mbele pale kwa mstari ya mbele kumpigia debe Mheshimiwa Prime Minister, Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. Sijawahi pata nafasi Mheshimiwa Spika ya kukaa karibu na Raila, na nafikiria nitamuuliza ndugu yangu Atandi anipeleke ama Madam Gogo wanipeleke niende. Unajua mbeleni ilikuwa tukienda hapo ilikuwa nasema unafanywa nini, unakuwa sanitized. Lakini sasa ni kwa kweli, na nasema hivi si kwa sababu ya haya peke yake. Mimi ni shabiki ya Raila sana kwa mambo mengi. Tangu nikiwa kansela aliniongoza kwa njia ya kuleta watu pamoja na kufanya mambo mengi. Na niseme kuna mambo mengi. Kwanza niseme kama ndugu yetu Junet alivyosema, akatumia jina atarevisit. Nataka kwa niaba ya jamii ya ile ambaye inasemekana walienda wakasherekea kuomba msamaha, kwa sababu sio jamii nzima ambaye walifanya hivyo. Ni watu wachache katika kona fulani ambaye walienda Kwa hivyo tusichukuliwe kama sisi sote, ni mtu mmoja ambaye anajulikana kwa mambo. Pili, niseme pia mambo ya zile sheria zimewekwa pale. Ndugu yangu bwana CNN amesema ni lazima tuanze kuangalia. Mimi sijui kama nitakuja chaguliwa rais. Pengine ningepeleka mswada kule tubadilishe sheria. Ya kwanza, kama vile nasema, iwe ni chairmanship, iwe ni kitu ya kuzunguka. Ikiweko North Africa, ikuje West Africa, ikuje East Africa, iende kule chini na kule kwingine. Ama si hivyo, wakubali basi first round, yule atakayepata majority votes. Raila wetu aliongoza mara 2. Lakini kuendelea mbele watu wakaanza siasa na mambo mengine. Tunataka kusema ya kwamba tunampongeza sana rais wetu kwa kupigia debe, na zaidi kwa ndugu yetu Raila Amolo Odinga kwa kujitokeza mhanga. Katika hata ile miaka yake watu wanasema si uzee, Mili amesema usije ukastaafu kama unajua lengo lako. Kwa hivyo nitaomba pamoja na Atandi.
Honorable Samuel Atandi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, let me join my colleagues in, first of all, congratulating the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga for stepping out and declaring his candidature for this position. Honorable Speaker, Kenya may have gone without a candidate in this election had Baba not come out and said that he's offering himself. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, I also want to thank and congratulate Honorable William Ruto, the President, for embracing the candidature of Raila Amolo Odinga and using all available opportunity and resources to ensure that the campaign took off. Honorable Speaker, the campaign for the chairmanship of African Union is not a mean activity. It is an activity that requires travelings and movement across length and breadth of Africa. Honorable Speaker, this is not a campaign that you can do from your own resources, even if you are a dollar billionaire. Therefore, I want to say that the President was very bold and in coming out and embracing this candidature. Honorable Speaker, I was thinking about the support the President gave Raila. And I was even thinking, Speaker, that maybe if we had another president, God forbid, maybe this Wamunyoro guy as the president, I don't think Kenya would have presented a candidate. He would have said, no, this is not a priority for Kenya. But the fact that the president said this is important for Kenya and coming out of his way himself to campaign and to offer resources is something that we will never forget. Honorable Speaker, I heard some people complaining that, look, the Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga is using a particular chopper to travel across the length and breadth of Africa while he's campaigning. I don't know whether those Kenyans wanted Raila Amolo Odinga to use tuk-tuk or SGR as a means of movement to those African capitals. Honorable Speaker, lastly, I want to say that this candidature was not Raila's candidature. Like most people have said, it was Kenya's candidature. Actually, when people were voting, when presidents were voting, they were voting for the country. They were voting for Kenya. And therefore, I want to say that Kenya has won because Raila Amolo Odinga, using his profile, using his global profile, has been able to market the country. Kenya is now known. Kenya is respected. And the debate, Honorable Speaker, that Kenya has a weak or a poor foreign policy is something that I want to dismiss. Because, Honorable Speaker, if the Kenya's foreign policy is weak, I don't think those 22 presidents would have been able to support us. And so I want to say that we know the African politics, we know the politics of Anglophone and Francophone, and many other factors that I would have.
Thank you, Honorable Sam Atandi. Honorable members, I have only 12 minutes. I don't know whether we still speak for 5. Wait, Honorable Ferdinand Wanyonyi, proceed.
Chairman, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me to have this. First and foremost, I want to say thank you very much, Your Excellency, for having endorsed Raila for this particular job. He actually did not endorse Raila as a person, but endorsed Kenya, because as mentioned elsewhere, Kenya is the one that actually stood for that election, and therefore that was the right candidate for us. And I want to say this, we actually as a country we did very well because the first round, we won this. And I don't know why they had to go to the second, third, fourth, up to seventh round, because we had the first round, RAILA was having 22 votes against 19. And then, of course, second one, again, he had more than that. So I don't know what happened. As somebody mentioned, I don't want to say maybe votes were stolen or anything else, or there was corruption, but I can tell you that RAILA actually won this. And I want to say this, that His Excellency did very well for actually endorsing RAILA because he actually endorsed Kenya. Secondly, had RAILA not actually accepted as a statesman after saying he has lost, you know, they would have suspended. They would have suspended this election. And I can tell you, because most people are saying it would have been very expensive for this country because we spend so much money. People going there, some of them went on their own. Others, of course, used our taxes for going. But now if His Excellency did not accept the defeat, what would have happened, Mr. Speaker? Would have been that now, you know, the whole thing suspended and would have spent so much. And therefore, he actually went for a country, and I want to accept that actually that was the right candidate. And ask me a second question. I have worked with RAILA, and I know that he's a statesman, and therefore, we are looking forward to having him get into the government and be able to work with Ruto so they can be able to move forward. I support the motion.
The Honorable Fatuma, MP for Migori County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. First, I want to congratulate His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya. He did what only great men would do. And as other Kenyans are talking, we want Africa to know that that was the best candidate. And Kenya won, Africa lost, because we gave them the best of the best. And we are asking Wamunyoro, if you think Raila was not fit, why would you not give yourself in to go as a candidate so that we see how many votes you'd have garnered? I also want to congratulate my Baba, my father, the father of this country, the father of Africa, that only a strong man like you would go for this position. Having gone through an election 2 years ago, and you go again for another election, I think only a God-given man would do such a thing. So I congratulate you, Baba, and as you come back home, we celebrate you. We will slaughter all our chicken for you. We love you from the bottom of our hearts. Many Kenyans were saying that we use taxpayers' money. Mr. Speaker, here is a form of Pacoso Sacco where I took a loan of 600,000 to go and see Baba win in whichever way. The government did not pay for me. I'll be struggling to pay this loan. And the Kenyans who are saying, and the newspapers who are castigating that we took taxpayers' money, the National Assembly only paid for 2 members of parliament. The rest of Kenyans there came in the same way or even worse than the way I came. There are Kenyans who took loans. There are Kenyans who sold their cows. And Mr. Speaker, there are Kenyans who took a bus and stayed on the road for 4 days to be in Addis Ababa, regardless of their tribe, regardless of their party and age. And so those Kenyans and those media houses, please, when you speak, remember we are all Kenyans. And we want to tell the Wamunyoros who are dancing, shame on you. And we are waiting for you. We love Ruto. We will pay him back because he loves our son. I swear we are waiting for you. We will embarrass you. Not even 1 vote you can get in this country. Shame on you. You're not even a Kenyan. In fact, I voted yes, and if you bring him again, I'll vote yes. He should even be expelled from this country. Shame on you, Wamunyoro.
The Honorable Dr. Lillian Gogo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker and son.
Honorable members, we have only 7 minutes to go.
Asumbi, I'll be very. Foremost, I want to congratulate Baba for being Baba, for just being Raila Amolo Odinga. We can never ever in the history of the Republic of Kenya have another copy of Raila Amolo Odinga. And I stand in this house through the mentorship and the guidance of Baba. Thank you for the space that you have given women leadership, and this is what Africa has missed. And I want to tell our president, the President of the Republic of Kenya, the Honorable William Samoei Ruto, Doctor. Daktari, may the Lord bless you. I saw you hold Raila's hands like a son of Kenya. I was there. Many Kenyans from all walks of life were in Addis. Many. And we had a watch party, and the hall was full with Kenyans of all walks of life. And people gave themselves out. But I want to thank the President of the Republic of Kenya for his humility, for holding on to Baba's hand. And for all I care, William, any time that you are going to call on us, William, I'm telling you this, William. Anytime you are going to call on us, William, I saw you. Nobody told me. I saw with my 2 eyes. Riding in the same vehicle with Baba, our Baba Uonoa, William, thank you very much. And when you want us, William, when you call on us, William, we saw you. We saw what you did to our very own. Somebody we value. Somebody Kenya values. Somebody who's gone through so much for this country. Somebody who sacrifices. Somebody who is not a tribalist. Somebody who has given so much for the great Republic of Kenya. And William, you came. And William, you were there for Baba. And William, you talked to us. And you are so humble. William, William. I'm telling you what you did to Baba. What you did to our son, William, we saw you. And the way you were there. And the way Kenyans were mourning. And the way we were grieving. And both of you stood and talked to us in the evening in Addis. William, leave that gender thing alone first. I'm just congratulating William. And I want to tell you, William, just unite Kenyans. William, please put Kenyans together. That is the only direction that we want. I'm talking to President William Ruto, William Samoei.
The Bogidinji Gishimu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And let me stand to also support the motion and heartily thank the President of this Republic, Honorable Dr. William Samoei Ruto, for leading a very vigorous campaign for our candidate as Kenyans, Raila Amolo Odinga, and who was very bold to offer himself for candidature in Africa for the chairmanship of the AU. And, Honorable Speaker, the Andes was a Kenyan moment. It was not a personal or an individual moment. It was a Kenyan moment. And it is very sad to see that some people could come out celebrating when a Kenyan lost an election at an African or at a continent level. So I believe there is a lot that can be done by these leaders. I congratulate Honorable Raila Odinga for having shown and coming out very courageously to run for this elective position in Africa. I believe the two leaders, Honorable Raila Odinga and Honorable Dr. William Samoei Ruto, the president of this country, will also come together and bring unity in this country, which is already there, and strengthen it so that for the benefit of all Kenyans and for the benefit for each and every part of this country. And I want to call out the prophets of doom that this country is headed for greatness. And these leaders I'm sure if they get united, every part of this country will get its right share of development because they care for all of us as Kenyans. And Honorable Speaker, I support, for the benefit of the rest of the members who have not contributed, let them contribute. And Honorable Speaker, under Standing Order number 1, I pray that you use your discretion to extend time so that as many as the few members that are remaining can be able to contribute. Honorable Speaker, under Standing Order number 1, you have that liberty or discretion to extend time even for about 15 minutes for the few members that are remaining to be able to make a contribution, Honorable Speaker, kindly.
Matter where the substantive speaker whom I assist will allow me to invoke the provisions of Standing Order number 1 without being punished. And so Standing Order number 1 is accordingly invoked to extend the time for this motion so that the interest showed, because we are talking a very patriotic matter, is duly registered. The Honorable, is that the Honorable Kakuta Maimai? Yes, the ma must speak. Yeah. You have to balance.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute to this motion. And I'd just like to congratulate His Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga Akababa for representing our country in the just concluded African Union Commission election. Baba transformative leadership has been inspiration not only for Kenya, but for Africa at large. Baba is bold, brave, and courageous. No doubt, Honorable Speaker, that given the opportunity, Baba has the ability to bring Africa together for peace and sound economic growth and development. In fact, the African continent would have been a better place with Baba in the helm of his leadership. To many of us, Baba Raila Amolo Odinga is the ultimate African statement. As a Kenyan, I am proud of my country and our citizens for continuing putting Kenya on a global map in so many different ways. For naysayers, I would say shame on them. We must always stand with our citizens when it comes to global contents. Most importantly, I would like to thank His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, for standing firm with Baba during African Union Commission election. I saw him walking with Baba and entering into the same vehicle as they are heading to the commission headquarters. And I was very, very touched to see him holding hands and representing our candidate to the global stage. So we truly appreciate our president for standing firm with one of our own. And it is about time for Baba and William Samoei Ruto to continue bringing our country together to make sure that we foster unity of our people. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this chance to contribute to this motion.
The Honorable Joshua Mwalio.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thought you have forgotten me, but God has remembered me. I want to thank I want to thank the president of this great nation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity.
I have not stopped you. You proceed.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I wanted to thank the President for what he did to be able to support one of our own, the former Prime Minister, to be able to vie for the chair of African Union Commission, and even to stand with him up to the end of the election. And even after the election, I saw them sit together while speaking maybe good words of encouraging him not to give up because there is still future. I also want to thank the people that went to Addis to support Baba. Those who took their time, those who took their money, they traveled by air, others by road, to be able to stand with our former Prime Minister. I want sincerely to thank them. I also want to say that when the books of history will be written, they will be able to write that the former Prime Minister vied for the chairmanship of AUC, because that is what he has done. And he fought a good fight, and in every contest, there must be a winner and a loser. But losing to the seat does not mean losing to Kenyans. We Kenyans, we have won because our candidate was number 2, and he fought a good fight, and we are going to celebrate him when he comes back. So we encourage him to continue serving this country diligently, always, as he has always done. Thank you very much. God bless Prime Minister Raila Odinga.
The Honorable Dr. Eve Obara.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to also add my voice to support the special motion. Mr. Speaker, first and foremost, let me appreciate our President, His Excellency William Ruto, for standing with Baba. Mr. Speaker, we are aware that Baba expressed his interest in the position, and the President supported him. Mr. Speaker, he gave it his all. And I'm repeating that he gave it his all, and we all saw it. Mr. Speaker, let me thank Baba Raila Amolo Odinga for the statesman that he is, Mr. Speaker, that he has made us proud as a country, because this was not his, it was not individual interest, but for the country. Mr. Speaker, he has reminded us continuously that in every contest there is a winner and there is a loser. Mr. Speaker, he demonstrated this even as we were hurting at the dinner after the event. He stood there proud and tall as a Kenyan to tell us that it doesn't matter. I knew that there were only 2 outcomes, and this is my outcome. At this juncture, let me congratulate the candidate who won, Mr. Mohamed Yusuf from Djibouti. Mr. Speaker, let me also make a few observations. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the leadership of the African Union, most of it is Anglophone heavy. Mr. Speaker, what happened to the unity, inclusivity, and equitable representation that the African Union stands for? Going forward, maybe this is an area that needs to be looked at so that there is maybe rotational representation or something that is close to negotiated democracy. Mr. Speaker, finally, for those who have been laughing and celebrating, it is indeed very, very sad. Mr. Speaker, if I can say, that this came at a time when we came back to the House to the loss of one of us, reminding us that we are all very temporary in this world. Why then should we hate to the extent of celebrating the loss of a Kenyan candidate, the loss of Kenya in the contest for the African Union Commission. I want to say shame on you to all of them.
There is an MP who is looking very unhappy here. Would you give her the mic to address the House on this? I'm not seeing her properly. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to take this opportunity to also contribute on the matter. I'm very proud of the campaign that was done because it was an international campaign and my party leader represented the agenda of Kenya at an international platform. And we are very happy as Kenyans because this was a time that many Kenyans of different divide came together to stand for one thing. It was not Honorable Raila Odinga on the ballot, it was Kenya on the ballot. And for that, we are happy and proud of the representation. As for the naysayers, that does not stop our agenda from going forward. We have a big agenda, which is to take Kenya forward. And we are very encouraged, especially as young people, to never retire, to continue giving our best to our country so that we are able to go forward. I stand here because of the mentorship of my party leader, where I started my political career in his office, and he did not know me, straight from Garissa, and he still held my hand to come to this house. And we continue to serve an example and preach a national agenda. For the naysayers and the few with dissenting voices, the president has taken a presidential stand on this. He did not take a party position, he took a presidential position. And for that, we thank him, and we continue to take cues. And for those who have not seen the cue, the country has gone beyond clan politics. We are now moving together as one. And for that, we want to encourage everybody to take the leadership that we have already been given. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mover, you may donate a bit of your time. I've seen the MP from Boni, I've seen the Honorable Waluke, I've seen Honorable Kirima, I've seen Honorable Lagat. If you will only, I've seen Honorable Sabina Chege, only if you will, you may donate. If not, reply, because when the time comes, the House has to move as per standing order.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I donate some 1 minute to Honorable Speaker from Boni. Honorable Mboni, sorry. Honorable Mboni, Honorable Waluke, Honorable Sabina Chege, Honorable Benjamin, and Engineer Kirago. 1 minute each. Ni sawa? Okay, another 1 minute to you, but usiongee vibaya hivi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, the mover, for giving this opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, the mover, for giving me this opportunity also to say one or two things about this event. First of all, the candidature for Honorable Odinga was not an individual candidature, but a candidate for Kenya. That's one thing people should know. A win for Kenya for Honorable Odinga was supposed to take Kenya to another level of the diplomatic space, and not only in Kenya or Africa, but in the world. Baba has a lot of knowledge of problems facing Africa, and this knowledge should be utilized to sort out problems which faces this Africa, including unemployment among the youth, trade barriers, and poor infrastructure. When you look at AUC staff, most of them are French-speaking staff. If you go to that secretariat, you may not find a Kenyan working there. But having an English-speaking candidate, chairman, we are likely to get English-speaking youth and staff who are going to work in that. So for those people who are actually celebrating the loss of Kenya, Baba, they should know that it's not about Baba, it's about Kenya, and we should love our country. Lastly, let me thank the President for the support. I think he did very well.
Next, is it Honorable John Waluke?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me a chance. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga fought as a man, as a son of this soil, Honorable Speaker. It was just bad luck because those other countries feared Honorable Raila because he had a plan to come and change the whole of Africa. And some of them maybe did not want, but we want to say that God bless him because Honorable Raila had a good vision, good mission for Africa and for Kenya because he could have changed even promoted this country to another level. Honorable Speaker, I also want to thank the President of this Republic for giving support to the Honorable Prime Minister. We love Raila. Me, I like him for his politics. He's a man of his own. He's a man.
The Honorable Sabina Chege.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me also join my colleagues in congratulating the former Prime Minister, Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. He's a man I worked closely with. I know he's a father. I know he's a mentor. African missed a man who had goodwill and the strength of Pan-Africanism and a person who would have taken Africa to the next level. Mr. Speaker, also let me appreciate the President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable William Ruto, because he showed the way he took the oath. Baba was his opponent, but he took it up. He went across the globe. He hosted several heads of state, and he showed his commitment for Kenyan. Finally, I want to apologize, and please let me, this apology go on record. To the people, especially from my region, who went out celebrating when Baba lost, and I want to take this message out there to Kenyans. This was I want to say this, Honorable Speaker, that the Baba win or Baba going to AU, he was not going as Raila Amolo Odinga, but as a Kenyan. It was unfortunate to see people, especially from my region, going out celebrating and saying, come back so that you can go into the opposition. And we need to know that there's time for everything. There's time when people are competing. There's time for seriousness where people need to work. And we cannot politic from morning to evening. So I want to apologize to Baba, and I want to tell him we love him. Those who are a few people who are misled by an individual, and I want to take this apology and I say, Baba, we love you. Come to Kenya. We will work together. And thank you, His Excellency William Ruto, because he stood with him and he's still standing with him. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. I want to go on record for supporting this motion. First of all, to thank the President for standing with the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. And he has proved that, in fact, he's a man of his words. When he says that he'll walk with somebody, he has demonstrated very well on this one. For Right Honorable Raila, I know him when I was a student at the university, and I saw him wearing the white clothes, helping the other students. He was an instructor. And I have seen him grow through even engineering in many places that he has offered his experience and his expertise in this country. And for sure, his candidature was to change Africa. I know he was committed.
It was the Honorable Lagat.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Let me join my colleagues in congratulating the Right Honorable Prime Minister for putting up a brave fight. He fought a good war, Mr. Speaker. In fact, when the results came for the first round, all of us we celebrated because he won round one, Mr. Speaker. It is only that maybe in round 2, 3, that the geopolitics.
He won round 2 also.
And round 2, yes. It's only that, Mr. Speaker, in third and fourth round, Mr. Speaker, other geopolitics came in and other countries supported the other countries. But, Mr. Speaker, I want to congratulate them, the Prime Minister, and I also want to thank the President, Mr. Speaker. It is not very easy for you to support somebody you have been competing with. Mr. Speaker, the President has done very well in supporting Kenya.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will take it very short because of the minute. First, I congratulate the Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga for what he did for Kenya, standing for Kenya. Then the President, standing up with the Honorable Raila Odinga, he galvanized the country together, and that was a sign of unity. I'm praying that what was shown in Addis Ababa, let it now be demonstrated here in Kenya. The NONDEC report, which was discussed to create vacancies and so on, that position of the Prime Minister, let it be created now so that we can have at least Raila giving that kind of advice, which we wanted to be given in Africa, to be given in Kenya here. It will work very well for us. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. As I respond, I want to take this opportunity to congratulate every member who has contributed positively to this debate. I also confirm that members have debated and they have shown a lot of passion in their debate. A lot of truth has been said. Over 30 members have contributed to this. And I'm sure if we gave the opportunity to people, even tomorrow, many more would have contributed and they would have eagerly debated on this because it is a matter that touches on each one of us as a leader today in our country. Honorable Speaker, we also know very well that God gave us this good opportunity and we are now placed at a very high and respectable space in Africa, simply because of what our leader, our president, Dr. William Samoei Ruto has done. The passion he had, he was bold enough, he was able to bring the team together. And I want to congratulate him for being bold enough, for bringing the entire nation together, and for going beyond people's expectation and thinking out of the box, because he embraced unity. And that is why he was able to hold the hands of the former Prime Minister and work with him. He is a visionary leader, because if he wasn't visionary, he wouldn't have done that. He has a big heart. He goes beyond the elections and his own supporters and bringing Kenya together. And that is why today we are enjoying the spirit of broad-based government, the spirit of togetherness, the spirit of working together, the spirit of working together as a nation. And it is my prayer that our president will continue with this spirit. And I'm sure after his 10 years tenure, we will all celebrate and see the development that we will have enjoyed during his time. Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Honorable Raila Odinga needs to be congratulated, just as all the others have done. He has done very well. You look at his age, his experience, he was the right person for that position. That has come out clearly from all the members who have contributed. And I'm sure many other members who are not even with us would have been together with us saying the same thing and congratulating him. He has done great, because in the whole season of campaign, the president himself confirmed to us that he was strong enough, he was able to move from one place to the other place, and the president leading and moving from one country to other country, bringing the leaders together, talking to them, and it just made us being proud of our country and also feeling that, yes, as a country, we have gone to another level. I'm sure if we elected the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, Africa would have enjoyed. But unfortunately, that has not happened. That does not mean that we cannot use him in another way. I'm sure he's capable of any other position that we are ready to release him to. And that is why today we are standing together and showing a lot of patriotism and celebrating his life and everything. I congratulate him, and I also wish him well as we look forward to what else he can do. I also want to congratulate the new chair, who has a lot of responsibility in uniting the entire Africa and seeing how we can reduce the challenges that we have, the poverty level, the sicknesses, natural calamity, and climate change that is affecting us. It is my prayer that Africa will be united and our president will remain focused and bold enough to lead this great nation. With those few remarks, I congratulate all the people that deserve to be congratulated and pray that Kenya will work together, remain united under the leadership of our president, our deputy president, and now the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. Thank you.
Honorable members, allow me to put the question that, recalling that the African Union, the successor to the Organization of African Unity, was launched in 2002 as a continental body consisting of 55 member states that make up the countries of the African continent, with a vision of creating an integrated, prosperous, and peaceful Africa, driven by its own citizens and representing a dynamic force in global arena. Aware that the African Union Commission established the secretariat responsible for the day-to-day operations and activities of the AU, is headed by the chairperson elected by the heads of state and government from member states. Recalling that on 27 February 2024, Kenya formally announced that the former Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, EGH, will be vying for the position of chairperson of the African Union Commission, building on his previous service as the African Union Special Envoy for Infrastructure Development in Africa from 2018 to 2023. Appreciating that, in recognition of the immense Pan-African ideals embodied in the candidacy of the Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga, his dedication and leadership in advancing the cause of the African continent through various initiatives and positions held over the years, including his previous service as the African Union Special Envoy for Infrastructure Development in Africa, His Excellency the President endorsed the Right Honorable Raila Odinga as Kenya's candidate for the chairperson of the African Union Commission, noting that the Right Honorable Raila Odinga's candidacy for the position of chairperson of the African Union Commission was not only his personal ambition, but also a symbol of Kenya's deep commitment to the goals of the African Union and his desire to actively participate in shaping the continent's future. Commending the government of Kenya, led by His Excellency the President, for the Pan-African campaign in support of the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, reinforced by Kenya's commitment to regional and continental integration and cooperation, guided by Kenya's foreign policy. Further commending the remarkable achievement by Right Honorable Raila Odinga for emerging the runner-up in the election of the chairperson of the African Union Commission, held on Saturday, the 15th day of February 2025. Recognizing the need to sustain Kenya's growing prominence on the continental stage and advocacy for a more united, prosperous, and self-reliant Africa, in resonance with the aspirations of millions of Africans who seek the continent empowered to chart its own course in the global arena. Now, therefore, this House, number one, records its thanks to His Excellency Dr. William Ruto, CGH, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces of the Republic of Kenya, for endorsing the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, EGH, as Kenya's candidate for election as the chairperson of the African Union Commission, and for coordinating the continental campaign in support of his candidacy. 2, expresses its profound thanks to the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, EGH, for demonstrating his unwavering commitment to the service of Africa by offering himself as Kenya's candidate for the position of the chairperson of the African Union Commission, for his leadership in advancing Pan-African unity, for his dedication to the development and integration of the African continent, and for his distinguished attempt at the election, in which he emerged as the runner-up. And 3, records its congratulations to His Excellency Mahmoud Ali Yusuf in his election as the chairperson of the African Union Commission on the election held on Saturday, 15th February 2025. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. That's a unanimous vote. That's the first time the House, in unanimity, has passed a motion in the House. Thank you, members. Next order.
Order number 10, the Equalization Fund Administration Bill, Senate Bill number 14 of 2023, second reading.
Mover.
Honorable Mr. Speaker, sir, I raise to move that the Equalization Fund Administration Bill number 14 of 2023 be now read a second time. Honorable Speaker, Article 204 of our Constitution provides the follows, and read verbatim, that is established an equalization fund into which shall be paid 0.5% of all the revenue collected by the national government each year, calculated on the basis of the most recent audited accounts of revenue received as approved by the National Assembly. The national government shall use, and 2, the national government shall use the equalization fund only to provide basic services including water, roads, health facilities, and electricity to marginalized areas to the extent necessary to bring the quality of those services in those areas to the level generally enjoyed by the rest of the nation as so far as possible. Honorable Speaker, this bill is seeking, therefore, to provide for the administrative structure for the management of the Equalization Fund as is established under Article 204 of our Constitution. It establishes the Equalization Fund Advisory Board, and additionally, the bill also is seeking to outline the structure and responsibilities of bodies or officials tasked with administering the fund. This bill, Honorable Speaker, will help provide basic services including water, roads, health facilities, and electricity to the marginalized areas to the extent necessary so that to bring the quality of those services to the level that is generally enjoyed in the rest of the country. Mr. Speaker, Clause 4 of the bill is seeking to provide for source of the funds, and the committee noted that there was a typographical error in the wording of what that fund should consist, and we will be proposing amendments in the clause to include the word 0.5% of all the revenue collected by the national government. Clause 6, Honorable Speaker, is seeking to establish the advisory board to the Equalization Fund. The committee also noted that as currently constituted, the bill requires representatives of persons nominated by the Senate. The committee proposed deleting the representation by an individual nominated by Senate, as this, Honorable Speaker, averts the separation of powers as envisioned in our Constitution between the separation of the powers of the roles of the executive and that of the legislature, Honorable Speaker. Instead, we will be recommending to replace the nomination of a person from the Senate to require that the fund nominates persons living with abilities, interest groups, and young people in the areas where these particular funds will operate, Honorable Speaker. Additionally, the committee proposes that individuals appointed under this section shall be gazetted. Also, these individuals should service for a term of 3 years with the possibility of renewal, and the board and provided further that the board shall provide sufficient time to effectively implement and realize its vision. This is also in line, Honorable, with Mwongozo Guideline. Honorable Speaker, the Mwongozo Guideline provides for the number of people that should be appointed in any board and the terms in which they should serve, and it recommends usually a 2-year term, a 2-year term honorable renewal, a 3-year term renewable once for this particular board members, Honorable Speaker, and that is what this bill is proposing to adhere to, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, clause 13.4. The committee notes that the clause requires the officer administering the fund to open a separate account at the Central Bank of Kenya, in which all monies raised under Section 4 shall be paid to. The committee observed that the Cohesion Fund is an independent fund, not under the National Treasury's mandate, and therefore the role of the national government under Article 204 of the Constitution and Section 18 of the Public Finance and Management Act limits the operational aspects as of establishment and maintenance of an account for the Equalization Fund. Honorable Speaker, Clause 18, Section 18 of the PFM Act provides that the National Treasury shall administer the Cohesion Fund in accordance with Article 204. This, read together with Clause 29 of the bill, is providing for withdrawals from the fund, which provides which provisions are similar to those in Section 18 of the Public Finance Management Act. And therefore, the committee was of the view that Section 18 of the PFM Act ought to be repealed to avoid conflict and overlap of these two provisions, Honorable Speaker. The committee also noted that there was inconsistencies in the use of the administration to the fund administrator, and officer administering the fund in the bill. And whereas Clause 2 of the bill defines fund administrator, this is not constantly applied. And therefore, the committee, again, will be recommending amendments to the bill to ensure consistency in the bill. Honorable Speaker, the committee noted that the bill proposes the establishment of a county technical committee, a sub-county technical committee, and a project identification and implementation committee. Honorable Speaker, these committees we found to be too many, because having 3 levels of committee for the implementation of the particular projects could raise unnecessary bureaucracies that could eat into the fund and therefore prevent these monies to go into the role in which they are supposed to go to, which is implementation of projects that will see services being delivered to these marginal areas in a level that is agreeable to what other parts of this country enjoy, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, again, we are recommending for the minimization of these bureaucracies, because, Honorable Speaker, we note that majority of these particular well-thought-through funds that are supposed to facilitate poverty reduction, equalization, and ensuring fair distribution of resources among Kenyan, Honorable Speaker, is lost in bureaucracies, where monies are supposed to go to projects end up sitting with people in committees in Naivasha and Mombasa and across the country at the expense of these monies going to the projects in which these particular monies are intended to, Honorable Speaker. Clause 17, on Clause 17, Honorable Speaker, the committee noted that the sub-county administrator is one of the co-chairpersons as provided for in Clause 19 of the bill. The committee recommends that since the county technical committee is a technical one, another person other than the governor should be proposed. The committee therefore proposes the county secretary replace the governor in the technical committee at the county level. The committee noted that Clause 9(1)J of the bill provides that the board shall undertake project public participation in line with Article 2(1) of the Constitution. Clause 22 of the bill provides that the project Identification and Implementation Committee shall undertake public participation in beneficiary counties. Clause 25(1)C of the bill provides that the County Executive Committee member shall, upon the identification of the projects and programs, prepare a work plan setting out a report on the public participation undertaken during the process of identification of programs and projects. The bill, Honorable Speaker, is therefore providing that the work plan shall be submitted to the board, and therefore the committee recommended that Clause 9(1)(J) be amended to provide that the board shall oversight that particular public participation. Again, this is a measure to ensure that the board only carries out an oversight role, but the actual project identification and project implementation of this particular project is done by the people at the county and sub-county level who are affected, Honorable Speaker, by this particular project and understand the needs of the societies in which this equalization fund is supposed to benefit, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this bill is seeking to provide a robust framework for the effective administration of the equalization fund and ensure that the marginalized areas in Kenya receive the necessary resources to improve essential services. Mr. Speaker, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the members of the committee and the members of the public that came came in large numbers to provide their views that has improved the reports that are going to table on this House on how to improve this particular bill, Honorable Speaker. As I conclude, Honorable Speaker, it is unfair, it is unnatural, and actually it's evil that whereas we have services that are enjoyed in some parts of the country freely, whereas some parts of the country have in a whole county, in a whole sub-county, people with piped water, people with tarmac roads, people with electricity, we still have places in this country that have never seen an inch of a tarmac road. It is unfair, Honorable Speaker, that in 2024, we still have many parts of this country where a whole constituency do not have connection to the national grid, Honorable Speaker. It is unfair, Honorable Speaker, that we have some parts of this country, Honorable Speaker, that they have never seen even Maram roads, Honorable Speaker, that they imagine where a road should be. And whereas we have the larger areas that are marginalized, Honorable Speaker, it is also unfair that we also have pockets of marginalization within areas that appear to be well developed, Honorable Speaker. You find very many places in this country where we have areas left out where they don't have electricity, where they've never had water, where they do not have roads, Honorable Speaker, and therefore we are hoping that this actualization of this equalization fund, Honorable Speaker, will ensure equity and fairness in distribution of resources across the country. Honorable Speaker, with that I beg to move and request the Honorable Vice Chair, Ambassador Langat to second.
So Speaker, I second.
Honorable members, I propose the question that the Equalization Fund Administration Bill, Senate Bill number 14 of 2023, be now read a second time. Order, honorable members, be upstanding. Honorable members, the time being 7:10 p.m., this House stands adjourned until Wednesday, the 19th day of February 2025 at 9:30 a.m.